people call, make jokes about the flavor of the month or what's the shiny new thing that blinds everybody, because when things like Facebook, everybody's talking about that, or it's whatever the hot trend is, whatever the hot site is. Twitter has been that site. Whatever it is, people are enamored by it and focused and talking about how it's going to clean their oven, cure disease, and do all this great and glorious things. At the end of the day, though, what you need to do is back up and just say, who's my audience? And your audience is always going to drive whatever technology you use in a campaign, whether it's press release, carrier pigeon, haiku, the technology, format, whatever. I think your audience is always going to drive that. If you take a look at MySpace, for example, MySpace has gotten a lot of heat, understandably, because sexual predators have been reported hanging out on MySpace. And they did a demographic pool of the members of MySpace, and their average age was male, demographic was male, 35, and of X number of MySpace members, a large percentage for this demographic, they were sex offenders, and it was alarming at how much. So for a while there, and right about that time, Facebook took off, and the timing was just horrible for MySpace. That said, if you came to me with a new client that was a band and they said they want to get the word out, the first place I would take them is MySpace. And not because any of the things I've just said, it's because music has a huge presence on MySpace, much more so than Facebook. And as a result, I would say if you do not have a MySpace page, whatever this band is, they should. So again, it goes back to where are the audiences hanging out? What are their habits? The more you know about your audience, the more you'll go down the path of figuring out those tactics. Because again, I talked about the shiny new, the flavor of the month. If you start out by saying, I want to do a PR campaign that uses Facebook, well, you better hope that the bulk of your audience is using Facebook, or you're going to fail miserably. I can't stress that enough. You need to always keep them in mind. Your audience is the golden rule, and always make sure that whatever tactic you're employing, not only does it apply to the audience, it helps you get closer to your goal. The goal should always be foremost through your entire campaign. And if it's a cool campaign, and it's a cool element of the campaign, and it even applies to your audience, but it's not going to push you further to your goal, pull it out. So it's more of a general response, but my thing is, don't be seduced by it unless, don't do it unless it makes sense.